Hello, Oracles! Well, Tesla China sales numbers are in for August and they are up 74% year over year, falling just shy of the record they set in June of 79,000, with 76,000 vehicles sold for the month of August. This is awesome numbers, very excited to see this. These fall right in line with expectations, so we may not see a lot of movement coming out of the stock today based on these numbers. As a matter of fact, at the time of this recording, we're about down to about 0.2%. Nothing major. The entire market is about flat at the time of this recording, so who knows what we're going to see for any of the movements. As we talked about last night briefly, we are breaking out of that downward channel slightly. I'm really going to pay attention because we were just above the channel. So I'm going to see how we trade today. If we end up pulling red going back into the channel, I am going to consider us still on this downward trend. We are going into CPI and PPI next week, most likely going to be leading to some uncertainty, a little bit of red and selling off. That is my expectations. Don't know for sure. We will see what happens next week. And then we've got the FOMC meeting coming up the week after. So I do think we are still going to follow this downward trend. But hey, who knows? Maybe we end up breaking that today and we go into consolidation mode instead. We'll track this and see how it goes. I do still have my buys in at the $250 level because I do think we are going to come down and fill that $258 gap. I'm almost wondering if, again, like I said last night, maybe this is a bull trap. We're kind of on this downward trend. We've seen small dead cat bounces going on. So just something to pay attention to. Don't know for sure. Again, short-term movements like this, for me, I'm just paying attention to so I can buy more for less. That's really it. Long-term, very excited. And these numbers coming out of Shanghai really show us exactly what Tesla can do when it comes to production and deliveries. So now I'm going to break down all the numbers for you guys as far as what came for domestic, what was exports, and what we can expect for September. So total deliveries came in at 76,965 vehicles. Of those, 42,463 were exports and 34,502 were sold domestically. Now, for those of you who have been following along for a while, know that when it comes to quarterly deliveries coming out of Shanghai, they usually front load the quarter, so the first month of the quarter, which would have been July, most of those are exports. Then when it comes to August, you would see kind of a split, which is basically what we saw. You see about half exports, half domestic. They usually switch over to domestic deliveries around the second half of the month. And then when you come to the last month, which would be September, it's going to be a majority of domestic deliveries that are going on just because they're trying to get out as many as they possibly can. Now, production has been ramping up significantly. Tesla Karav, if you do not follow him over on Twitter, please do. He shares out all of the daily estimates when it comes to production. Tesla is producing around 3,200 vehicles per day coming out of Shanghai. So if you extrapolate that out over the course of the month, looking at roughly 96,000 vehicles getting produced in September. And if they're going to deliver the majority of those, we could see near 100,000 vehicles getting delivered domestically just from Shanghai alone. Now, if you look at exports for last year, Tesla exported about 6.7% of their deliveries for the month of September. So if we're using rough numbers and say that Tesla is going to deliver around 96,000 vehicles domestically for Shanghai, and then another 6.7% are going to be done for exports, then we're looking at around 6,500 vehicles exported out of Shanghai for September, for a total of about 102 to 103,000 vehicles delivered for the month, which is absolutely astronomical to think about. Now, thinking about last year, Q3 alone last year for Shanghai was 73,000 vehicles delivered. That was an entire quarter. Tesla just beat that in a single month. And that month isn't even the record. That's not even the most that they have delivered. They delivered more than that back in June. So we're about to smash that record in September. So it's just amazing to think about the fact that Tesla, within 1 year, is able to deliver as many vehicles in 1 month as they did in an entire quarter last year. This is how it's going to look, and this is how exponential growth works. And then when you're looking at Austin and Berlin coming online and getting themselves up to ramp, we are going to have 2 more factories that have numbers that are going to be looking like this year over year as we move on down the road with their production growth. So just the things to think about, and then when Tesla starts to get more factories coming up and more factories coming up, this is going to be the same case and the same scenario in every single one of these factories. This is how their exponential growth works. So very excited to see these numbers coming out of here. Let me know what you guys think we're going to see for delivery numbers coming out of Shanghai for September. I know there's a lot of vehicles still on cargo ships as well, so I don't know, maybe 6,500 is actually a low number for exports. And now that Shanghai is exporting to a lot more countries around the world as well, there may be even more vehicles on ships that need to get delivered. So that's still an unknown right now, but we know that they're going to be focusing mostly on domestic deliveries. And now looking at month over month, Tesla was up 172% in growth month over month, but we know that July was down for a while, so I'm not really going to consider that number to be a real number because, the Model Y line was down for 2 weeks in July. But looking at the breakdown of vehicles coming out for deliveries, we had Model Y sales of 62,169 and Model 3 coming in at 14,976. Now we know that the Model 3 line was down for a week at the beginning of August as well, so that number should be growing also. So awesome numbers coming out of Shanghai. And now looking at what we're looking at for the quarter, so far this quarter, they have delivered 105,182 vehicles. Tack on another 105,000 vehicles here getting delivered in September most likely, you're looking at 210,000 vehicles being delivered out of Shanghai alone for 1 quarter. That is almost 250,000 vehicles coming out of one factory for 1 quarter. Mind-blowing. This is why I'm thinking we are going to be seeing 500,000 vehicles getting delivered for the 4th quarter for Tesla. Now, keeping in mind, I do think that number could be a little bit off depending on how many people push off their vehicles due to the EV tax credit here in the US. But if we're going to be delivering 100,000 out of China alone here in September, let's say assuming that number is going to come down in October because the push won't be the same domestically, we're going to have more exports. But even if you split that down and drop it down to, 80,000, you're still looking at over 250,000 vehicles being delivered out of Shanghai alone just for the 4th quarter. That means that the other 3 factories only need to make up 250,000 vehicles to hit that 500,000. So just something to think about. Tesla has been doing this year over year, basically. Remembering that at the end of 2020, Tesla delivered just under 500,000 vehicles for the entire year. Now, 2 years later, they're looking to do that in 1 quarter. Absolutely mind-blowing. So looking forward to the production and delivery numbers we are going to get for Q3 on October 2nd. Now just a quick follow-up on the report that we did last night on Tesla's safety and all of their vehicles being the safest in the world. Elon did reply to EV Australia about their testing, and he said that their vehicles have since improved even more since they have done those tests. So absolutely insane the fact that these tests are coming out with Tesla being the safest vehicle, and Elon is saying that they're actually getting safer as we are moving forward. So again, Tesla, safest vehicle, spread the word on how safe Teslas are because that is something that nobody really pays attention to. And to me, safety is the best feature you can have. As Jerry said it himself in the comments, you can't put a price on safety. You really can't. And when it comes down to it, it's like the best accident is no accident. And that is exactly what Tesla is working on, is preventing accidents from happening in the first place, but also setting themselves up where if they do get into an accident, they are still going to be the safest vehicles to be in. And then one little other piece I wanted to talk about was something that was going on in the interview that they had yesterday with Farzad and Gary Black and Alexandra. And, Gary Black had mentioned something about total addressable market. And when Tesla brought out the Model Y, it hit that CUV total addressable market. That was a massive market to get into. And now we're going to have the Cybertruck coming out, and the trucks make up 18% of the market as well. So Tesla's going to be getting into that market. The next massive market that they are going to get into is going to be that compact car. So, we've had many talks on here where it's not wise for Tesla to come out with a compact car. They can't even produce enough of the vehicles they have right now to be able to meet the demand. So to come out with something even less expensive, and as Elon said, when you bring that price down, demand goes up exponentially. So it's just not wise for them to do that yet. So I know it's coming. Probably 2024 is when that compact car is going to come. But when it comes to the demand, it's something that Blue Toad had mentioned that spurred something in my mind is, when you're looking at these compact cars that are out there, you look at a CUV, the crossover vehicles like a Model Y, the gas mileage switch is significant. Maybe you're getting 20, 25, maybe in some good cases 30 miles to the gallon for your crossover vehicle. So switching to an EV, you save significantly on gas and the expenses there. However, when it comes to a compact car, many compact cars that are out there, have very good gas mileage, maybe 40, 45, even 50 miles to the gallon. So when you're switching over and people are going to be buying an EV version of a compact car, the price dichotomy's got to be a little bit different because people aren't saving as much on fuel because they already have very good fuel efficient vehicles as it is. So, obviously it's going to be cleaner and better for the environment, but some of these people are looking strictly at cost. So the cost savings is not going to be as drastic when it comes to a compact car. I think when we hit 2024, that number is going to be different. So we'll see how this plays out. And obviously this is something that we need to move into anyway. When the entire world is switching over to EVs, then that's just going to be the natural course of events. We're going to get to that point. But thank you, Blue Toad, for bringing that up and spurring that on in my head, where, looking at the fact that the cost savings just isn't the same when you're doing it from a fuel efficiency standpoint. So again, we know that this is going to happen. This is going to be a huge total addressable market that Tesla's about to tap into in a couple of years. So as soon as we see all the Tesla Q and bears are saying, oh, where's Tesla's demand going? Well, they've just hit the Cybertruck. That's taking off in that huge segment. And now here comes the compact car in the segment that nearly everybody is looking for them to get into. So we'll see how that plays out. Let me know your thoughts in the comments about the Tesla China numbers. Let me know your thoughts about when a compact car is going to be coming out. And let me know what you guys think about the stock movements lately. Do you think that this is going to just be a bull trap and we continue our downward trend? Or do you think that we are going to be breaking out of this and start some consolidation? Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support and feedback. If you have not subscribed, please do so down below. Sign yourself up for notifications. I am over on Twitter at OracleTim1. I share all of the latest Tesla news, pertinent stock market information, and all of my daily trades. We do have a Discord chat. That link is down in the description. And if you'd like to support the channel any further, we do have a Patreon. That link is also in the description. Thank you so much. Have a great one.